And what's going on, everybody? And we are logging on to episode 119 of the podcast. I am your host, Frank McKnight, and I am joined with no one else. It's a solo episode this week. This is actually the second time I'm doing a solo episode. The first time I did it was around the 90th episode mark, somewhere around there. I did my first solo episode when it was called the Hot Takes Podcast. I don't usually like doing solo episodes. I'd rather have someone across from me to just talk the shit, basically, you know? And there's really only one main reason why I decided to go solo this episode. So last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I'm losing track of time because of how hectic things have been. But my uncle has passed away, my Uncle Eddie. And it's a tough loss for all the family. And that's actually why we didn't have a podcast released last week, since we've been on this weekly release schedule. So that's the main reason why we didn't have a podcast last week. And it's the same reason why I'm doing it solo right now. The reason for it is basically I just don't feel like having people over right now, necessarily. And that might be a red flag, like, in a sense, to some people. You should, when you're feeling down and whatnot, you should be with the people you love and everything like that. But the thing is, I've been with family a lot, as of recent. And I love them all to death. You know, it's honestly been beautiful and great to be around family, these past couple days, obviously under not the right circumstances, but still. But I love them all to death, and it's been great seeing them more often than not. But, you know, we're still the Muscos side of the family, my mom's side of the family, and even, you know, my dad's side too. We're all extremely close with each other, and I'm extremely grateful for that. Everyone has helped each other out in grieving, and just being sad together, and bringing up the great memories we all had with my Uncle Ed. It's been a little tough. It's been tough for sure. But you know, we'll get through it. He'll never be forgotten, that's for sure. If you haven't seen on my channel yet, I made a nice tribute slideshow picture video of my Uncle Ed. Basically celebrating his life. So if you're interested in checking that out, just go to my channel and check it out. See how much of a stud he was. And, you know, he was just a great guy overall. I mean, he really was the life of the party when it came to family events and everything like that. You know, he always made people laugh, always made people smile. And the reason for that is because family was extremely important to him. Extremely important to him. It was his number one thing. And I'll always remember him for that. Always. So yeah, there's my little tribute to my Uncle Ed. Uncle Ed, I love you. If you're tuning in up there, I hope you enjoy. And say hi to Grandma Jean for me and Fief. But alright. Besides that fact, we got 4 different topics today we're going to talk about on the podcast. One is a movie review, which I just saw this past Sunday. Another one is a movie that just came out. The reviews have just came out, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're also going to be doing some YouTube channel updates this episode, as far as my YouTube channel, of where things are heading this year and next year. And then there's a movie announcement that we're going to be talking about as well. So those are the 4 topics. They aren't in that exact order I just said them in. But you know what? Let's just get into the first one. The first one, we did a podcast. It was the last podcast of 2022. And it was for the top 5 most anticipated movies of 2023 in our opinion. Like me and Luke's most anticipated of 2023. And one of those movies I put on my list is a little film called The Super Mario Brothers Movie. Now, as I'm filming this today, the movie's actually out right now. and the reviews are out for it. Both critic and audience reviews are both revealed on Rotten Tomatoes. I am not seeing it this opening week/weekend. I will be seeing it, I'll be seeing it tomorrow. As you guys watch this episode right now, I'll be seeing it tomorrow on Tuesday for AMC's $5 Ticket Tuesdays. And I'm going with some fam to go see it. I am extremely excited for this movie. I've been extremely excited for it. I loved the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, 1 and 2. I thought they were incredible. And that made me more excited for the Super Mario Brothers movie. Like, I feel like video game adaptations from video game to movies and TV have been incredible lately. You got the 2 Sonic the Hedgehog movies. You got The Last of Us, which was freaking incredible. That Mortal Kombat movie I heard was pretty good, that most recent one they made. And then you had that Tomb Raider movie that came out like 4 or 5 years ago. I heard that did decent as well. Uncharted, they're all getting decent reviews and decent audience reception to them and everything like that. So anyway, the Super Mario Brothers movie came out last night on Tuesday. And that's what I also find weird too. Why did they premiere it midweek? Like, usually the movies are released on Thursday night into Friday for the box office weekend. Who wins the weekend box office? That's the thing. But it's interesting that they decided to open it a couple of days early on a Wednesday. Anyway, the Rotten Tomato scores are out for both critics and audience for the Super Mario Brothers movie, so let's list them off right now. It's not looking too hot as far as critic reviews. We got as of right now, at least as we're filming this, it has a 54% with 122 reviews from the critics. It's not too hot on Rotten Tomatoes. It's considered rotten as of right now, unless they miraculously get some more reviews in there, hyping up the movie, and the score goes up a little bit, or goes down, who knows. But then there's the audience review. The overall audience review on Rotten Tomatoes is a 96% with over 100 verified ratings. I'm sure that number of verified ratings is going to increase as well by the time I see it tomorrow. That's fantastic to me. I don't necessarily trust critic reviews nowadays, especially on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, for instance, Black Adam got a terrible critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I ended up loving it. And I feel like this is going to be the same case with the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I am so big with Mario and Sonic. Those were, it's a little cliche, but those are my 2 favorite video game characters of all time, besides Sly Cooper and Jak and Daxter. But, I thought the trailers have looked fantastic. Some of the clips they've released for the movie look fantastic. The music seems incredible. I'm sure it's going to be loaded with Easter eggs and fun little secrets that only true video game people will know about. And yeah, I'm, despite the critic review of 54%, I am still extremely excited for this movie, and I am still a true believer that I'm going to love it. I'm not expecting anything great from the story. That's one of the complaints I've been hearing about it as of late. That there basically is no story to the movie. The story is very thin. The plot is very thin. And they really just relied on the Easter eggs and comedy aspect of it. I'm more or less seeing this as a celebration of Mario through the years and a celebration of Nintendo through the years. I think that was their main goal with this movie. And another thing I was hearing with the Easter eggs, some Easter eggs might seem a little forced in movies, this, that, the other thing, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, the Easter eggs are incredible in this. The way they're placed in the movie, when it's a comedy bit to it, it hits, things of that nature. So I think I'm really gonna enjoy it. I don't think I'll be able to have time to review the movie on the podcast, but if you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Frank_videos, I usually put up a small review with a 1 out of 10 scale of a movie or TV show review. So I'll definitely have a review up for Super Mario probably that Tuesday night, probably tomorrow night when I see it. So there's that. So make sure you follow us there. And yeah, the last thing I'll say about the Super Mario Bros. Movie, I think even with this okay critic rating overall, I think this movie's going to make so much money. I follow John Campea on YouTube. He's a big movie blogger, but on video, I guess that's the best way to describe him. He thought it was going to be the movie that made the most money of this year. And now he doesn't think so because of the critic ratings. But I am still a firm believer that this is going to be the movie that hits the most with audiences. I truly believe that. I think it's going to make the most money out of any movie that gets released this year, to be completely honest with you. I don't think anything else stands a chance. You got movies like Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise coming out this year. That'll make some good money, but I don't think it's going to pass Super Mario. Transformers, that's always a big money-making franchise, but I don't think that'll pass Super Mario. And then, you got the Marvel movies. I mean, I highly doubt the Marvels is going to come anywhere close to Super Mario. But Guardians 3 might have a chance to... It might have a chance to surpass or be close to where Super Mario lands at the box office overall. So we'll see. But that's my prediction. I believe the Super Mario Brothers movie will be the movie to make the most money out of this year. But all right, let's get into topic number 2. Now, this one is the movie announcement that was announced last week. I was actually going to do a My Theory On episode about how they were going to make this movie. Obviously, this idea was before they announced it. But instead of foreshadowing this whole time, let me just tell you the movie that was announced, Shrek 5. Now, I am a huge Shrek fan. Huge Shrek fan. I think a lot of people are, to be honest with you. Shrek was huge when it first came out. It was the movie to win, for the very first time out of any movie, to win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, which is an incredible feat. It beat Disney Pixar that year, which is an incredible feat on its own. But Shrek 5 was announced with the original cast in talks of returning. I mean, first off, if the original cast wasn't going to return, then don't make Shrek 5. It's as simple as that. If they weren't interested in doing it, then why even try to make a Shrek 5? You have to have Mike Myers back as Shrek. You have to have Eddie Murphy back as Donkey. And, you have to have Cameron Diaz back as Fiona. You have to have all of them back. So, it's not a shocker that they're making a Shrek 5 at this point, because Puss in Boots: The Last Wish did incredible critic rating-wise, and the audience loved it as well. It was all over TikTok at one point, especially because of the villain of the movie, the wolf, the Grim Reaper. And it also did pretty well at the box office too. I think it was a surprise for DreamWorks of how well the movie actually did. Because the first Puss in Boots movie, it was an okay movie. I saw it. It was all right. But I don't think it did too well at the box office. And I think after that movie and how Shrek 4 performed at the box office and getting the critic ratings for that, I think they were just done for the franchise, they thought. But, I think they had such a good idea and concept for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and that's why they greenlit it. And they succeeded, in my opinion. I think they did a really good job. So, yeah, that's why it's not a shocker that they're making a Shrek 5. Also, you can't miss out on the post-credit scene of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, where it's Puss and his crew, Kitty Softpaws and Perrito, I believe his name is, the dog. They're sailing over to Far, Far Away. He's like, now it's time to go see some old friends, and then Far, Far Away appears on screen. Spoiler alert, sorry. But it's like, okay, you gotta make a Shrek 5 now. Especially because of how good this movie is, and then you're gonna leave us on a little cliffhanger like that. You have to make Shrek 5. So, there's that. Now, there's two things that I hope they include. Actually, no. There's one thing I hope they include in Shrek 5 from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and there's one thing I hope they don't bring into Shrek 5 that was also incorporated in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So the thing that I would like for them to adapt into Shrek 5, and that's the animation style for Puss in Boots 2. The animation style is that 3D, 2D animation that they used for the fight scenes in Puss in Boots, but it's mainly the primary animation style for movies like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the new one that's coming out, Across the Spider-Verse, and even if you saw the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer, which is animated, it's also in that same style of 2D, 3D animated, choppy-looking animation. I don't know if there's an exact title for that type of animation yet, and if there is, I don't know it, but I love it. It's incredible. It's so innovative, in my opinion. So that's one thing I hope they bring into Shrek 5. I hope they keep that animation style that they did in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, because it's just incredible. A movie that has that animation style is like a total win in my book already, to be honest with you. It's so appealing to the eyes, in my opinion, especially for like fight scenes and stuff of that nature. The thing that I hope they don't adapt into Shrek 5 that was in Puss in Boots 2, which is the type of comedy Puss in Boots: The Last Wish had. Puss in Boots 2 was a little bit too kiddie, a little bit too cute for me as far as the comedy aspect of it. Meanwhile, you have the original Shrek movies. They have like that hidden adult humor to them. And I think that's the main reason why, people at least of my age and even a little bit older and younger, they love the Shrek movies because of those subtle adult jokes in them. And I hope they do that with Shrek 5 and leave out the too kiddie humor, if you understand what I'm saying. So those are my two suggestions for you guys, DreamWorks and Shrek 5. I think there's been enough time that has passed to make a Shrek 5, and I think it'll be a huge win at the box office. 1, for its animation style, 2, for the nostalgia aspect of it, and 3, I think there's been enough time to really think of a good story for Shrek again, and I think they could pull it off. I really do think they could pull it off. So that's all we got for that topic. All right, topic number 3. I saw a little movie this past Sunday, and it was Shazam: Fury of the Gods. It's the latest DC Universe installment, and I want to give my review on it. Spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the movie, maybe skip this part or whatever, or if you don't care, you could listen to me and what I got to say about it, whatever works for you. So I have my little points here of what I thought about the movie. So really, it was just okay. It was nothing special, and to be honest with you, it was pretty mediocre in my opinion. Also pretty predictable. It was a pretty predictable movie. It didn't piss me off that it was that predictable, but at the same time, it's like, nowadays there are so many superhero movies, you have to be creative in that genre nowadays for you to stand out. And I don't think they really tried to do that. It was so plain. The movie was so plain. It wasn't anything innovative or creative in my opinion. It's just your run-of-the-mill superhero movie, and I don't think that cuts it nowadays with how much superhero content's coming out. I could care less for the villains. They were pretty uninteresting, in my opinion. The acting is pretty good for them. Helen Mirren is always great. She played Hespera. I believe that's how you say her name. She was like the leader of the 3 Atlas sisters. They're all gods, basically. All 3 of them are extremely powerful. So you have Helen Mirren as Hespera. You have this other actress who her name I don't know, but she plays Calypso. Her powers were pretty cool. Not gonna lie, Calypso's the one who whispers in your ear, and then they kind of just go mad. And it's like a zombie virus in a sense. Like, Calypso will whisper into one person's ear. That person will go mad and start whispering into other people's ear, and it's like an infection that just spreads. It's kind of crazy. Like the beginning of the movie, when the villains first appear, Hespera and Calypso, it was a pretty crazy scene. It basically shows like a zombie outbreak, it felt like. And that was pretty cool, actually. I will give it that. But otherwise, they are pretty uninteresting villains. But the coolest character was Anthea, who was a part of the villain clan. And she was the coolest character of the movie, actually, because of her powers. She had like these powers where she puts up her hands, and everything, like buildings, anything with mass to it, just starts morphing and transforming, and she could like teleport that way too. I can't explain the power, but it's so cool, and it was visually stunning, pretty trippy. I'm all about the visually stunning, trippy stuff in movies and TV, so that's why I think she's the coolest character. And her name was Anthea, and the actress's name is another one I can't think of at the moment. But anyway, throughout the course of this movie, I was pretty bored. Like I said before, it was pretty mediocre and predictable. Like, I was just bored throughout most of the movie. Yeah, I would say I was bored throughout most of the movie until the final act. During the final fight and everything, that's when things started to get a bit interesting. But otherwise, pretty boring, in my opinion. Speaking of the third act, Wonder Woman's cameo was okay. I mean, her cameo during the movie would have been a lot cooler if they never revealed she was in the movie. I think because of the box office predictions for this movie were so bad of how much money it was going to make, like very low amounts of money, they decided to add Wonder Woman in the promo trailers on TV and everything like that. Like, they show Wonder Woman in the movie in the trailers. And that was a mistake, in my opinion, because clearly this movie is doing terrible at the box office still, even with Wonder Woman in the trailers. But, I guess Wonder Woman's cameo would have been a little bit better if she was never revealed in the trailers, but at the same time, her cameo is nothing special either, in my opinion. Like, in a sense, it's a pivotal part of the story when she pops up to help Shazam out. But at the same time, did you really need her? Like, I don't know. I don't know. And then there's the thing that bothered me the most with this movie, and it kind of took me out of the movie a little bit. And that was the attitude and charisma between Billy Baxton and then his adult form of Shazam. They don't seem like the same people. I'll just put it simply as that. When Billy Batson transforms into Shazam, it's like it's a totally different person, which shouldn't be the case. It should be Billy Batson in a strong adult body form. And it just didn't seem that way. Like, to put it simply, Billy Batson in this movie, when the kid form, Billy Batson, he seemed more mature. He seemed more calm and reasonable. He seemed smart. And then it's like all that got thrown out of the window when he transforms into Shazam. And then you have Shazam acting way too kiddie and acting like an idiot and acting like he has no idea what he's doing and stuff of that nature. And I don't know, it just took me out of it. they did a much better job in the comparison between Billy Batson and Shazam in the first Shazam movie than they did with this movie, which is weird because you'd think they'd have a hand on that by now. So the question is, whose fault really is that in the acting process? Is it what was his name? I have it listed down here. Is it Zachary Levi's fault? Zachary Levi plays Shazam. Is it his fault that they don't seem like the same person? Or is it Asher Angel's fault, who plays the kid Billy Batson? Is it his fault that he wasn't too kiddie? That he wasn't kiddie enough to compare to Shazam? No idea. But I think they needed more communication between each other and with the director. And it's hard for me to believe that they didn't notice that Billy Batson and Shazam seemed like two totally different people while filming this. So that's what took me out of it. I know it took a couple other people out of it too for the movie. All right, let's move on to the post-credit scenes. Those were just okay too. Pretty mediocre in my opinion. The first post-credit scene was with Waller's Suicide Squad crew, not the actual Suicide crew, but like Waller's headquarter crew. And they go to recruit Shazam into the Justice Society. I don't know why it was Waller's team that went to go to Shazam to recruit him. It should have been Atom Smasher and Calypso. No, not Calypso, I'm sorry. Atom Smasher and Cyclone from Black Adam. It should have been them two recruiting Shazam, not these random agents. Like, that was weird to me. But apparently Dwayne Johnson, who plays Black Adam, was the one who blocked that from even happening, which is even weirder to me. Like, you want to have this connected universe and everything like that, and you want it to succeed all together, but you're going to isolate one of your movies in the same universe from doing that? And it's even weirder that Dwayne Johnson wanted to isolate Shazam from Black Adam. Meanwhile, they're arch nemesises. What the hell? So that was weird to me. The second post-credit scene was a bit better, but not by much. The second post-credit scene dealt with the villain from the first Shazam movie, Dr. Sivana, or Sivana, however you say it, and Mr. Mind, the Caterpillar. They're back once again in a Shazam post-credit scene. And it's a clear lead up for a third Shazam film. Mr. Mind seems to have something planned, something in the works for Shazam's downfall. They don't really go into what that is necessarily, but that's all it really was. That's all the post-credit scene really was. Dr. Savannah still in the jail cell, and Mr. Mind comes to visit him once again. And just be like, don't worry, your time is soon. Your time is coming to help me out and defeat Shazam. So yeah, both post-credit scenes were pretty mid, in my opinion. But the real thing is, who knows if they'll even matter anymore? Because of two reasons. These post-credit scenes might not even matter anymore, and that's for two reasons. One, we have no idea what the state of the DCU is going to be since the James Gunn takeover. I mean, we might have, and hopefully we do. Hopefully we have some sort of idea of where the new universe is heading after we see the Flash movie. I would hope anyway. But even with that said, I think a lot of things are still going to be kept secret. And we're just going to have to find out on our own as movies get released. So that's one of the reasons why these post-credit scenes, or the whole Shazam 2 movie, doesn't even matter. Because it seems like in The Flash, everything's going to reset. The second reason why the post-credit scenes might not matter is that it did awful at the box office. This movie did terrible at the box office. Like, so bad. I think this is going to be losing a lot of money. And this has been a trend with DC as of late. Because Black Adam really didn't do too well at the box office either, and that was starring The Rock, who's a money-making machine, a money magnet, and it still underperformed at the box office overall. I think part of it has to do with like the superhero fatigue. I think there's too much content coming out nowadays between movies and TV shows about superheroes, about supervillains, about the world of superheroes and supervillains. It's just way too much nowadays. I think people are getting sick of it, and especially because of the fact these movies are just okay as of recent, both Marvel and DC. It's really not helping their case either. I think people are getting sick of it, at least for right now. And I think we all just need a break from all of it. I think that the superhero fatigue is really setting in hard for these studios. But, it's clear evidence that this superhero fatigue and the DC trend is happening because of the box office failure for Shazam: Fury of the Gods. So that makes me think, is there even going to be a third Shazam movie at this point? I know the director of the first two Shazam movies already came out on Twitter. It was like, I'm taking a break from this right now. I think I'm done with this for right now. I think he was mainly just really discouraged over the results at the box office for Shazam 2. Whatever. And the other thing, like I said before, there's so much content coming out about superheroes nowadays between movies and TV that there's just no room for a mediocre superhero movie nowadays. It needs to be interesting. It needs to be different. Shazam: Fury of the Gods was your run-of-the-mill, mediocre, just okay superhero movie. And nowadays, I don't think that cuts it. And I think that's a big reason why it's failing at the box office. Plus, the promotion for this movie was pretty terrible, too. It was pretty bad. The trailers didn't look that good. They didn't release enough trailers. I think this was just a recipe for disaster. So anyway, that's my Shazam: Fury of the Gods review. I gave it a review on Instagram and Twitter, @Frank_videos. And I believe I gave it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. I think 5 is being a little bit too disrespectful for the movie. Because, it wasn't a bad movie. It was just mediocre. So I had to give it a 1-up over 5. I gave it a 6. There you go. All right, our last topic. Last topic for the day. It has nothing to do with any movie news or movie reviews or anything of that nature. I just wanted to give you a couple quick updates on my YouTube channel, Frank Videos, the state that we're in right now, plus what we're looking forward to and what we're planning for the future. So I'm just going to read these off. I apologize for not looking at you guys, but I'm just going to read these off right now. So number 1, even though we took a week off last week from the pod, we are still planning to continue doing weekly episodes every Monday of each month. And I have the whole year of 2023 planned out of what the topics are going to be, what guests we're having on, etc. The whole year is planned out, scheduled and ready to go. So at least for this year, the rest of this year, we'll be keeping it at a new episode a week. So there's that. I'll give you a little hint, sneak peek on what next week's podcast is going to be. It's another taste testing with wine. My grandma Kathy will be returning onto the pod for the second time on the podcast to do the wine taste testing with me. And we'll both also be joined by a newcomer of the pod. I won't say who it is yet. I'll leave that as a surprise for when next week's episode is released. I also won't tell you which kind of wine we're taste testing yet. But it's another type of wine that's not Cabernet, since we already did Cabernet. So there are your hints for next week's episode. The reactions, they'll go on as always when trailers or videos that I'm interested in get released. I've been doing pretty good in releasing the reactions pretty soon on after the actual trailer or video is released. I'm pretty proud of that. So we'll continue the reactions throughout this year too. So there's that. Now, if you watched the YouTube channel spotlight video, there were a couple other series that I announced, 3 series specifically. We have Loggin On, we have Hot Take Debate, and then we have My Theory On. Vlogging On is just going to be a vlog series. Hot Take Debate is going to be based off a certain topic, and we'll have 2 different teams and a judge. And the 2 teams will debate each other on which one is better, whatever the topic is. And the judge will ultimately be the one who decides who wins the debate. And then there's My Theory On. Like I said before, I was going to do a My Theory On episode of my theory on why Shrek 5 was going to happen. And I should have released that episode because now it's proven to be true. Shrek 5 is happening. So I think you get the idea that it would basically just be a video, a short explanation on my thoughts on certain things. And yes, I know I have a podcast to do that for, but to get more in depth and more in detail with that one singular topic or theory, we'll have a different series for that. So those are the 3 new series: Vlogging On, Hot Take Debate, and My Theory On. But here's the thing with them. I have no set release dates, and truthfully, I have no idea when those are going to premiere. I would like it to be in 2023, but there's really no promises made there. I've been pretty delved into the podcast as of late and the reactions and a whole bunch of other stuff video production wise. And then, I work, so I don't have time to do everything at all moments of the day. So we'll see when those premiere. If you follow me on Twitter at Frank_videos, I always give updates on when I think, at least, certain things are going to be filmed, certain things are going to be edited, and then ultimately when they're going to be released. So hopefully sometime soon, one of these series comes to light, and we could get to it. It would most likely probably be Vlogging On, the vlog series. So there's that. Frank Gaming Season 4 is still set to premiere on Friday, September 1st, 2023. And filming is actually going to start soon. I'm planning on taking more time in the filming process for this Season 4 of the video game series. So I'm excited to get that started up. Frank Adventures Season 3 will be filming this year, more specifically in June. I can't tell you the location I'm going to yet, but that'll be revealed probably sometime this year, maybe in quarter 4 of this year, possibly. But it's filming in June. But that won't be released till early next year in 2024. So there's that. As far as original skits for TikToks, YouTube Shorts, and the Instagram Reels, they're more definitely on the way. As you guys could already probably tell that subscribe to me on YouTube and whatnot, they kind of get released pretty sporadically, like the reactions. It's just whenever I have a good idea and I have the time to film it and everything like that, they'll just be released as they're ready to go. And they'll definitely be more on the way. I have a whole list of original ideas and original skits that I would like to do for TikToks and YouTube Shorts. And to be quite frank with you, that's the most fun I have when it comes to filming, editing, and being creative are the YouTube Shorts and the little skits I make. I think it's a lot of fun. So that's all. That's really it. The last thing I'll say is that once again, I'm extremely grateful that we surpassed 10K subscribers. We're currently at 10,630 something subscribers, and I just hope that number goes up as time goes on at a quick pace per se. I'm extremely proud of that. I'm extremely grateful for that. And I hope you guys stick around ultimately to see what other projects I have coming out. I had a 10K party a couple weeks back, right when I hit 10K. And my Uncle Ed was actually there, and we had a good time. But anyway, so that's all I got for you this episode. I don't know how long I went. 40 minutes, short and sweet. I think that'll do, though. Last thing I want to say, everyone who reached out to me as far as the events that have happened in the past week or so, I just want to say thank you. I love you guys for that. I really do appreciate it. And, there's only moving forward. So that's what I just got to keep in mind. Anyway, if you guys like this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Also, follow us on all social media platforms at Frank_videos. And if you want to listen to our podcast audio-only version, we are now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. So check us out there as well. The links to that will be in the description below. And that's it. We'll see you next week for a new podcast. But until then, peace out.
Whoever knows Jeff, whoever doesn't know Jeff, super nice guy, but coach-wise, hard ass. In a good way.
Disciplined, strict, all that. Everything of that nature.
If you put your hand down, he's punching you in the fucking face.
Right.
He's keep your hand up.
Yeah.
If you're not going to keep your hand up, I'm going to show you to keep your hand up.
Right.
And that's just how I knew him. And mind you, him again, I only met him 2 months before too. I'm scared of him. This guy was in the UFC. I'm seeing him getting ready for a fight.
Yeah.
This guy's a dog. So I'm just like, oh shit. And but he grabs me on the side right after my fight, and I'll never forget it. He just looks at me in my face, and he was just like, he's like, you're a dog. Like, he was like, he didn't even throw a kick. He was like, you didn't give up. You went to the third round. He was like, you just started fighting. He was like, I saw the dog in you. He was like, if you just keep fighting, you're going to go somewhere. I was like, okay. Like, and that always just stuck in my head. Every time I fought now, I'm just like,
yeah.
Someone that was at the UFC level told me.
Yeah, right.